Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a breakdown of the 5 best classes I think are available right now in Season 2 of Warzone. There's been a lot of changes to the meta with attachment changes, lots of buffs and nerfs as per usual at the start of a season. And if you're looking for the 10 best guns to run, you've come to the right place. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you do find a class in here that suits you. And let's get straight into class number 1. Our very first class is going to be the Vanguard PPSH and the XM4. The Vanguard PPSH right now at the time of recording is actually broken. It's the best gun in the game because of a silent nerf. However, this thing is still absolutely amazing, and I imagine when they do revert the silent buff, it's still going to be fantastic right where it was in Season 1. This thing is a monster up close. It has amazing hip fire and incredible fire rate. If you build it out like this with the recoil booster to up that fire rate, you build the barrel here, the 230mm barrel here gives hip fire accuracy as well as lots of fire rate and recoil recovery. I prefer the Carver foregrip here to help with recoil control as well as more hip fire accuracy. I use the Nambu rounds. The Nambu increases the fire rate as well as helping with recoil control and accuracy. Hollow point is now the go-to for SMGs because the incendiary rounds were nerfed considerably. Hollow point is really good on this hip fire build because you are going to hit the limbs while you're hip firing. Pine tar grip for me is the way to go here because it helps with hip fire accuracy as well as more recoil control. Tight grip here tightens that spread up and also helps with recoil control. Fully loaded, I like the remove stock here for hip fire accuracy, again movement speed and sprint to fire, and then the slate reflector. A lot of people say this is hip fire only, however all of these attachments you probably notice stack for recoil control, so you can ADS, but it does still have a lot of bounce to it. Pairing it up with the best assault rifle in the game right now, in my opinion, it is by far the best option. Agency suppressor on the XM4 here helps with the bullet velocity, vertical recoil control, and as well as the effective damage range. Stacking that with the Task Force is the best pick by far. Field Agent grip to help with some of the recoil control. 60 round mag, this is a long range rifle, so it doesn't matter too much about the ADS. And then the Axial 3X right here. This right here is an absolutely disgusting combination right now and by far the best class, especially because it does everything well. It's great close range and it's great at that medium to long range. Getting into our second class, and it is still the MP40. The MP40 is by far the most versatile SMG, and it is still amazing as a sniper support, and that is what I've got this built here for. A sniper support for that middle range. Even though the damage range was nerfed, this thing is an absolute laser beam, and there's no real reason to not run it as a sniper support. Using the recoil booster again to help with that fire rate, lowers the time to kill. The Krausnik barrel is still the best pick, even though it was nerfed. It helps with that accuracy, that recoil, really removing a lot of the visual recoil. Carver foregrip for me is the best for SMGs because of that recoil as well as hip fire accuracy. The Gorenko mag is still the way to go. It helps with ADS speed, it helps with movement speed, recoil control, fire rate. Everything is a positive there for SMGs. Hollow point now, however, you could run lengthened on this. It's complete personal preference. I'm running the fabric grip. For me, I'm not too worried about the polymer with the flinch resistance as well as recoil. I just like that extra sprint to fire speed. I really like that hip fire accuracy as well, and the ADS time. Looking for steady here to help with that firing move speed, helps with the strafe. Fully loaded is the go-to. Folding stock, in my opinion, is still the best overall stock because it helps with that movement speed and sprint to fire. However, definitely experiment with the remove stock, and I also don't mind the VDD34M because it helps with that recoil as well as ADS speed as well. And then an iron sight, you could definitely rock the ISO 2 or the ISO 1. It's complete preference right there. This thing is an absolute monster as sniper support. Pairing it up with what I think is the best sniper on Rebirth Island for sure. I'm going here with the Kar98 from Modern Warfare. The Singard long barrel here helps with that bullet velocity damage range. Going with the TAC laser here to help with ADS speed and stability. The sniper scope. The sniper scope also, make sure you customize that and stick on this cross thread reticle or the pinpoint reticle. Both are really great. Using the F-Tac sport comb here to help with ADS speed further. And then I'm going with sleight of hand. For whatever reason, I'm finding the monolithic suppressor to just mess with me right now, so I'm going sleight of hand on Rebirth Island. This is really important too, with how quick people are respawning. But a great overall sniper support and sniper class. Moving on to class number 3, and we have one of the strongest ARs in the game, the Cold War AK-47. This thing reminds me so much of the Amax from Season 4, Season 3 of last year, when it was absolutely dominating lobbies. A slower firing, harder hitting, high recoil, but extremely satisfying weapon to use. This thing has been good for so long, people just seem to forget about it. It absolutely destroys people at long range if you can control the recoil, so we've kitted it out for that. Using the GRU suppressor here to help with that recoil as well as bullet velocity damage range. The RPK barrel stacks that even further. Using the Spetsnaz grip to help with that vertical and horizontal recoil control. The 3X is my side of preference here, making this a range beast. And then the 45 round mag keeps the ADS speed nice and snappy. However, you could definitely go for the 60 if that's your preference. I just find with the AK-47, you're shooting so much slower than other rifles that you can make the most of your bullets. And then pairing this up with the Welgun, one of the best SMGs added to the game in a long time. The Welgun is an absolute monster up close, but it's also incredible at range because of its fantastic recoil with this setup. Using the recoil booster here, it lowers the time to kill, upping that fire rate. Shrouded barrel here helps make it even more responsible there with recoil, helping it with damage range and also reducing that visual recoil and clutter. The Carver foregrip here, again, my preference on SMGs, recoil control with that hip fire. Using the 40 Gorenko mag here, this ups that movement speed, fire rate, and also recoil control. However, definitely experiment with the 64 round mag, it's also fantastic. Lengthened is my go-to on the Welgun because I find I'm using it more at range, however, hollow point if you want to use it up close. The fabric grip, again, for those benefits like hip fire, sprinter fire, and also ADS, great for an SMG. Going with acrobatic as the perk here for movement speed, sprinting movement speed, fully loaded once again. Remove stock again to help with that ADS speed, sprint to fire, and movement speed, so you can see this thing is extremely snappy and extremely fast. And then slate reflector, however, I definitely recommend using one of these as well, these iron sights here. If you can get used to the iron sight, go for it. The GW03 is much better because it's much cleaner. However, the slate reflector works perfect for me. This is a fantastic class, and again, great for range, great for up close. Moving on to class number 4, and it is the C58. The C58, even though it received a slight nerf to the recoil control, this thing is still a premier assault rifle at range, and it's also fantastic on Rebirth Island. Using the agency suppressor here, again, to help with that recoil control that was nerfed, as well as extending out that bullet velocity damage range. Task Force, stacking that again further. The field agent grip, and the 55 round mag here. It's a stock standard Cold War setup. Using the 3X as well. This thing is an absolute beast, and it is still fantastic in Season 2. Pairing up with the LAPA is starting to finally get some love. This thing is a monster up close, and once the PPSH cops that revert back to where it was, we'll start seeing more people use the LAPA. There's the key attachment here is the rifle barrel. It helps increase the fire rate and the damage, making this thing a monster up close. Agency suppressor is my go-to for that recoil control as well as extending that damage range. The 50 round mag here is my preference, however, definitely experiment with a 40 if you want to snap your ADS. And also the 45 round fast is much better with the reload. You'll find that sometimes with this, you reload and the bullets don't go back into the mag. Tiger Team Spotlight here for that strafe speed and aim walking movement speed. It's really fantastic. And then the downfall of the LAPA is the iron sight is terrible, so you're forced to use that Microflex LED for a much clearer picture. However, again, if you can cope with the terrible iron sights, I'd recommend using the Raider stock or the combat stock to help with ADS movement speed as well as that firing movement speed. But an overall fantastic class, again, that long range, short range domination. And our last class here is the Cooper Carbine for range. The Cooper Carbine is still a monster. It's got no recoil and it absolutely blasts people away at distance. Using the MX silencer here, which was buffed for sound suppression, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil. It also helps with bullet velocity, so it's an impressive attachment now. Using the Cooper Carbine here, it helps boost that fire rate as well as remove all that visual recoil. Strife angle foregrip for me is the way to go. It just helps with that stability and it also helps with aim walking steadiness. However, if you're not finding this better for you, definitely the Carver or the hand stop. Going with the 60 round drum here just because it helps the fire rate even more. It also helps with recoil control. Lengthened is the only real option for a ranged weapon here. It helps the bullet velocity even though it was nerfed. Polymer grip here helps with the accuracy during sustained fire, which is great because it stacks even further with tight grip. Using fully loaded. Then the Cooper 45 RS is also really helpful for that initial firing recoil and ADS and recoil recovery, so it stacks with all of those other attachments. The 3-6 also is fantastic. The 3-6 is the way to go in my opinion because it also helps with recoil control and accuracy. It's extremely clean. And also rocking the Sten. The Sten is extremely underrated. It's fantastic and it absolutely beams people up close. It's got amazing movement speed, and with this build here, you can really boost that TTK absolutely destroying kids. Using the recoil booster here to lower that time to kill. The rapid barrel again stacks for more fire rate. Carbine foregrip again to help with that recoil control, as well as getting some hip fire. 50 round mag here for me. I think the 50 round is the way to go, just because the 32 is just not quite enough here for the Gorenko. Otherwise, if you're playing solos or duos, maybe the 32 round is the way to go for that increased fire rate. Hollow point is the way to go again. Fabric grip here for all of those benefits we've talked about before. ADS, sprint fire, hip fire. Acrobatic is a fantastic perk for movement speed and sprinting movement speed. Fully loaded, however, you might go quick as well. Quick is really decent. Using the para stock here to help for sprinter fire as well as movement speed. And then the clean, super clean iron sights here, the SA32S. If you're using the rapid barrel, you get this extremely little clean iron sight there, and it is a great option, lowering that ADS speed as well. So there you go, guys, 5 classes that you can use to run on Rebirth Island or on Caldera that are absolutely fantastic for Season 2. If you use one of these classes, let me know in a comment. What are you using? What's different? There's so many great options in the meta right now, and I'm looking forward to experimenting with even more guns.